Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
The day around Kansas starts with living historian Marla Matkin, who brings together a love of history and theater to tell stories of the West. Next, learn about the Prairie Museum of Art and History in Colby with a collection that includes the Cooper Barn, one of the 8 wonders of Kansas architecture. Then enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with The Devil's Claw. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Good morning, I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas. And it's early in the morning. You know, last time we kind of kidded around about having an Emmy show for early morning shows. Well,
I wasn't kidding.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding.
No, we're going to do that, so get ready to vote.
It was no laughing matter.
Yeah, so we have some good stories today about Kansas.
You know, speaking of Emmys and awards and filmmaking and all that stuff, I was on the set a few weeks ago, the Home on the Range documentary that we've talked about on the show, our friend Ken Spurgeon and Lone Chimney Films has been working on. I can't tell you all how awesome this film is going to be. And Michael Martin Murphey, the singer, plays a judge in this film. Buck Taylor has a role, and Rance Howard, who is the father of Ron Howard, has a role in this film. And it's going to be phenomenal. We were on set at Cowtown. They were filming some of the scenes from the turn of the last century there in Wichita, and it was just amazing. It's going to be an amazing film.
Is there a planned release date yet?
You know, they're looking at November.
Really?
Yeah, so it's going to be a quick turnaround, but they've worked really hard, and so they're hoping for November. And we will keep you posted and let you know when the screenings will happen. But folks, you're going to be very excited to see this one.
Wow.
I'm so pleased to have anything to do with it. I got a really play a very minor role, but I'm proud to have that.
Now, what role do you play?
You know, I'm actually, I'm not acting.
I'm not in it.
I'm interviewing.
Well, never mind.
I'm interviewing people. Yeah, I can't act. You know, this is me. This is what you get, folks. You know, better or worse, this is it. But I'm doing interviews, and so I interviewed Michael Martin Murphey and my friend Ken Spurgeon. And sometimes it's hard to interview your friends. You think you know everything, so you don't ask them. You know this, Frank. You don't ask them the same questions that you would a stranger or somebody you don't know as well. So that is often more difficult, but I think it went really well. I think it went really well. So I think this is going to be some of the extra stuff maybe on the DVD, the interviews about people's thoughts on the song Home on the Range, and it's why they're involved and passion for the project. So
yeah,
that's cool.
So I think we did a story on the song Home on the Range and why he wrote it, and it was trying to get his fiancée to actually come out to Kansas and marry him, if I remember rightly.
You know, there's a lot of in early Kansas, you know, people would write home and say things. They might exaggerate how pretty it was and stuff. But when you go out to that cabin and you look around at that landscape, Michael Martin Murphey was talking about, you know, you can picture exactly what he was saying, and it is beautiful, and it was beautiful. And so some folks might think he was taking literary license, but maybe not. Maybe not. Go out and see. It might be that pretty. We got a great show, folks. Stay with us. Visit our picturesque town on the Santa Fe Trail for the Council Grove Fall Festival featuring the Voices of the Wind People pageant on the banks of the Neosho River, September 16 and 17.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Here we are again.
So I'm fortunate to know a lot of very, very talented people, as are you, Frank, and I have a lot of reenactor friends, living historians, and what they mean by living historian, as opposed to the dead ones, you know, living historian portrays a person. So they're portraying somebody. They're not just lecturing about somebody. They're actually portraying that person. So if you're looking for somebody to come to your class or your group and you're looking for a living historian, it means that they're actually portraying, taking on the role, acting. We're all about acting today. So they're actually acting and doing the history at the same time. So that's what my friend Marla Matkin does. She does Libby Custer. She does just, she's an incredibly talented person, incredibly talented. That's hard to do, you know, to research somebody. When I was doing a lot of programs with the Ritchie House, they wanted me to be Mary Jane Ritchie. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. For one thing, I'm nothing like Mary Jane. My accent would not have been like hers, for sure. She was a quiet, pious woman, you know. So I felt, I know it is laughable.
Casting person was really off.
Yeah, they were really off on that. They were desperate, you know, desperate, Frank. They were desperate.
But it's acting.
They were desperate. Well, I gave it my best shot. I don't think I was asked to come back and be Mary Jane. My friend Diane Bernheimer does a great job as Mary Jane Ritchie. There are other people who've done her far better than I, but I just don't feel like I know anybody that well. You know, you have to do a lot of work to know somebody that well and portray them and answer questions like you think they would.
Yeah, because their friends might come along and say, she didn't do that. Oh, that's right, they're reenacting.
Oh, they will. The friends will come along and say that. Yeah, believe me. Hysterians, yeah, they'll all come by and say, yeah, that's not right. Yeah, she would have never said that. No, you can count on that. And I just can't take the criticism, so I'll leave it to Marla.
Oh my, we need to do a story.
All right, let's take a look at my friend Marla Matkin. Is there any drama that compares to stories of real people in the American West? Living historian Marla Matkin brings her love of history and drama together and has made a life of sharing those dramatic stories. Becoming a living historian and independent scholar was a perfect marriage of history and theater. These two disciplines prove a powerful combination in telling the story of the West and the people who colored its landscape. She has organized two theater groups reminiscent of 19th century theatrical troupes, the Post Players and Buffalo Bills combination. She also writes and directs the group's offerings. A lifelong Kansan, Marla grew up near Dodge City. Her great-grandparents had homesteaded in Ford County in 1877. Marla received a degree in education from Fort Hays State University, which proves a valuable asset in her effort to educate, entertain, and inspire her audiences. She has recently written her first children's book, Custer's Mouse, with more hopefully to follow. She volunteers her time and expertise at Fort Hays State Historic Site and is leading the committee to mark its 150th anniversary in 2017. She also volunteers at Fort Larned National Historic Site. For over 20 years, she has appeared before thousands of spectators. Her most notable engagements include the Smithsonian, Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming, National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, Oklahoma City, and various national parks. Marla has been on the roster of Humanities Nebraska for 14 years, allowing her to share her passion for Western history with young and old alike throughout the state. As new possibilities present themselves, she hopes to grow her audiences, expand her horizons, and educate and excite future historians and enthusiasts in an effort to keep history alive and relevant. Visit our picturesque town on the Santa Fe Trail for the Council Grove Fall Festival, featuring the Voices of the Wind People pageant on the banks of the Neosho River, September 16 and 17.
Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Cody's statue marks his achievements and welcomes visitors to the Cultural Center. The Fick Fossil Museum houses world-class fossils and artifacts. You'll find Oakley at the hub of U.S. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70. Stop for the legend. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. Straighten up, we're back. Hello again. We were talking about acting again while we were away doing that story. And I don't know, there's a commercial for some sort of hard cider or something with Captain Picard.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm not acting. And I says, well, somebody give me a line. The thing is I never have quite understood that commercial, but that's just me.
I think acting up would be what my mom would have called it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's acting and then there's acting up. And I think acting up is what Frank and I do here.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go way out to western Kansas next. And we're going to go to Colby. Have you ever been to Colby? It's really out there. It's up on the high plains, but it's not too far off the interstate. And anyway, there's a museum there that you really have to go see.
You do. And Colby is right there on I-70. You know, it's one of the last stops before you get to Colorado. And of course, everybody stops there at the Oasis and goes to the Starbucks. And if you do that, you can go over to the Prairie Museum. This, I can't say enough about this museum. You will be blown away. And I know I say that a lot, but your jaw will drop when you go in and see the Cusca collection in this museum. And that's just one piece of what's there.
Yeah. Well,
It's
and if you're
phenomenal.
saying, see one museum, you've seen them all. No, because this place, though, there's a lot of acreage there, and there's a sod house, and I mean, it's really a cool place to stop and really have a serious look around. And the collections in there, you're not going to believe.
And they have a little exhibit to Sam Ramey, who is a native of Colby and who is one of the nominees for the Kansas Music Hall of Fame this year. So another little plug there. And again, just when you think you have western Kansas pegged or maybe more rural Kansas, you've got this world-class opera singer from Little Bitty Colby out there on the high plains.
Well, now, because up in South Dakota, everybody says, well, you got to go to Wall Drug. And Wall Drug is right out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, that really is nowhere, yeah.
Now, so the thing is no, this museum is not out in the middle of nowhere. It's right there, and it deserves a stop.
Oh, it does. You will thank us. You will write us letters and thank us when you go in this museum and see how great it was.
Yeah.
I promise.
So, I'm going to tell you the story. Experience early prairie life in a sod house, a one-room school, a country church, and a 1930s farmstead as you discover 24 acres of outdoor exhibits of the Prairie Museum of Art and History. Among those is the Cooper Barn, the largest in Kansas and one of the 8 wonders of Kansas architecture. All of which would be enough reason to stop and explore, but the main building holds some surprising treasures. With more than 21,000 square feet, it was designed by architect George Kuska to house his parents' extensive collection. George's dad came to Colby in 1913 as an agronomist for the Colby Branch Experiment Station, which is now K-State. In 1917, he married Nellie McVeigh, a Colby school teacher, originally from Hill City. She spent her entire life collecting and was even given the opportunity to talk about her acquisitions and hobby on her own radio program. Her lifelong passion for collecting began at the age of 7 when she received an antique bisque doll dated from 1887. It was a reward for learning her multiplication tables. The couple continued to add to her collections, and in 1957, Joe and Nellie moved to California and opened the Kuska Museum. They operated the museum until Nellie's death in 1973. The entire collection was later donated to the people of Thomas County, Kansas by the Kuska Foundation. It took more than 3 of the largest moving vans to transport 17 tons of artifacts from California to Colby. The Smithsonian and other experts appraised the collection at a value of more than $1 million in 1975. The museum is located on Interstate 70 between exits 53 and 54 and hosts annual programs and activities designed for both children and adults in addition to its regular exhibits.
Visit our picturesque town on the Santa Fe Trail for the Council Grove Fall Festival featuring the Voices of the Wind People pageant on the banks of the Neosho River, September 16 and 17.
Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a sight today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fightingest fort in the West.
I was in an accident where I fell off a roof. I don't know why I started to research stem cells, but I did. And I visited with the doctors. They were excellent. I had my neck done, my shoulders done, section of my back, my hips, my sacrum, my sciatica, and my tailbone. Now I am having better range of motion in my arms and my neck and my back. It was a long road to get there, but I'm so glad that I found them.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Perhaps we've seen horses with problems through the years, but I've come to find from my experience that oftentimes the problem isn't the horse, it's the rider. This poem is entitled The Problem Horse, or The Horse's Problem. Here's part 1. "What's wrong with this horse?" the young rider asked as he struggled with jobs for which he was tasked. "She balks at the trailer, won't stand at the gates, and she doesn't move right when I want to change gates. She's skittish as heck and she spooks at my rope. I'm beginning to think this darn mare is a dope. I'm trying to get the work done that I need, but I can't make her start upon the right lead." Disgust and frustration fooled the cowboy's discourse as he asked the question, "What's wrong with this horse?" Here's part 2. "What's wrong with this rider?" the mare must have thought as he went through the struggles the morning had brought. "Does he want me to gallop or just go at a lope? Does he know that he whacked me upside with his rope? Do we stop at the gate or go on down the fence? What the heck does he want? His cues make no sense. Is he squeezing his knees because he wants to go fast? Or is his intent different than it was in the past?" The mixed signals she got caused frustration inside her, and the mare had to wonder, what's wrong with this rider? Happy trails.
Visit our picturesque town on the Santa Fe Trail for the Council Grove Fall Festival featuring the Voices of the Wind People pageant on the banks of the Neosho River, September 16 and 17.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Across from the state capitol, I'm pointing that way because today the room that we're in, the capitol's over there.
Sometimes the Capitol moves. Sometimes it's over there, over
Sometimes
there,
it's
over there.
It does move around.
Yeah,
so.
it moves around some.
Anyway,
Yeah.
You have kind of a neat story coming up. Kind of give us a little bit of a prelude to it.
Well,
I don't really I don't know what this is, but I wonder, does it taste like crab or lobster?
Not exactly. No, devil's claw. And so I'm just messing around the barnyard, and there's this. We've got sunflowers all over the place and all kinds of other weeds, and it's a lot to keep up. And so, but I'm always coming across something that I'm not familiar with, and so the devil's claw was blooming, and so Dr. Jake is explaining about the devil's claw, and I'm like, wow, and it's got pods on it, and I'm like, me, is it edible? And like one of my friends said, I don't know why anybody would want to, but so I start looking around. I start doing research, and the seeds are edible. And there's a great book. I found this great book. This is so good. Edible Wild Plants of the Prairie. Who knew? Kelly Kincher, or Kindsher. I'm sorry, Kelly, if I'm not getting your name correct. This is an amazing book, and right here is a photograph of devil's claw, and they've got all these great little drawings of all these plants, but he talks about what the Indians would have used the plant for and if they would have eaten it, and he makes all these historic references, like the Stephen Long expedition. Did they talk about this specific plant? So it's a fantastic book. Well, long story short, I had to try devil's claw, and it's got sort of the texture of okra. So I fry some up, and I'm like, here, Dr. Jake, try it. And he's like, I don't like okra. Why would I try? Why would I try this? Some people just have no sense of adventure, But how could he? Do you like okra?
Yeah, well, it depends on how it's fixed, just okra and eat
well,
it.
if it's fried, if it's fried, like they, roll it in enough cornmeal and sprinkle enough stuff and fry it in some good grease, it's all good. Roll it in cornmeal and fry it in grease. It's good.
There you go.
All right.
A little bacon.
Bacon grease, that's the best. Let's take a look. It is called unicorn plant. Proboscis flower, cat's claw, and ram's horn. Most Kansans refer to it as devil's claw because when the pod dries and splits apart, it forms two sharply hooked claws or horns. The dried pods had littered the barnyard. They were obviously meant to be used in floral arrangements, but those green pods, those bright green pods that look like okra gone awry, could they be useful? Useful, yes, and tasty. I posted the photo of the plant on Facebook and got all sorts of advice on preparing the pods, mostly pickling. But some sources said it could be fried, so I cut some up, rolled it in cornmeal, and fried it like okra. It was pretty good. A slight bitter aftertaste, but pretty good. Then I found Kelly Kincher's book, Edible Wild Plants of the Prairie, and it suggested boiling in salt water to tenderize. Another friend, Cindy Tune, said soaking in milk would take the bitter away. I will try both. Fortunately, we are blessed with devil's claw enough to experiment. The plant has a strong odor and is usually found in sandy soil, fields, or pastures, We have lots of space that fits that description. Devil's Claw, another reminder to take time to learn about the world around you, even if that world is just the barnyard.
Well, I think they want us to get out of here, so I'm Frank.
I'm sure they do. Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere
Around
Kansas.
Welcome to Kansas, gateway to Oz.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.